E aí pessoal, não tenham medo, pois sou eu aqui de volta. E como vocês podem ver aqui na tela, com essa imagem maravilhosa, com este homem sorrindo, hoje é um vídeo que provavelmente causará claustrofobia para você e para mim. Então, sem mais delongas, se inscreva no canal, deixe o seu like e vamos começar com esta compilação de claustrofobia dentro de cavernas. Realmente eu tenho medo porque eu tenho uma história bem ruim com essas situações de claustrofobia. Preso em um tubo. The Outdoor Channel. Vamos ver. Perigo. Nunca vá a cavernas desconhecidas sozinhos. Eu não consegui ler. Cara, tá saindo pelo canal fetal, hein? Meu Deus do céu. Ah, não dá. Só passa a cabeça do cara aí. Já tô arrepiado. Beleza, ainda tem água pra melhorar tudo, né? Vezes 3 vezes. Ó, pelo menos tem tipo um espaço onde dá de passar o corpo e a cabeça, né? É tipo... né? Ou seja, a caverna é boa, ó. Dá pra passar o capacete. Agora, aí também é sacanagem, né? Não deve ser o mesmo vídeo. Por mais assustador que isso parece, também é lindo ao mesmo tempo, né? Coisas perigosas são lindas. Cara... É ter coragem. Eu não conseguiria, pessoalmente. Por nada nessa vida. Eu não conseguiria. Ai, cara, como é que vai passar nesse... Olha a grossura dessa passagem. É sacanagem isso. Meu Deus, cara. E se ficar preso aí não tem pra onde sair, né? Isso que é incrível. Olha isso. Que retardado. Como é que vai sair? Entrar é fácil, né? Agora sair é só se puxar pelos pezinhos. Meu Deus do céu, não passa o pé. Gente, que é isso, meu? Dá não, dá não, dá não, dá não, dá não. Ok. Será que essas pessoas não têm uma noção mínima do perigo, né? Isso que é incrível. Olha isso, anda igual uma lagarta. Molenga dentro dos buracos das cavernas. Se vir uma enxurrada de água também, a pessoa pode dizer adeus, né? Cara... Você é maluco. Olha isso, meu. O tamanho do buraquinho, cara. É impressionante. Será que esses vídeos é tudo de uma mesma pessoa? I don't think so. Eu não acho. Se cair reto aí, fica preso, né? E quebra uma perna brincando, né? Ainda tem por isso, esse ponto. Eu decidi trocar de vídeo porque aquele lá tava muito repetitivo. Agora esse vídeo aqui é um teste de fobias. Já começa o vídeo com aviso. Será que você tem? Aviso. O vídeo a seguir trata-se sobre fobias. Então, caso tenha mesmo algumas das fobias do vídeo, feche imediatamente. Nictofobia. Medo do escuro. Ok, aí já é também... Isso aí já é sacanagem, pô. Não precisa nem ter medo de escuro, né? Mas medo do capeta. Será que você tem... laxanofobia? Medo de laxante? Ah, vegetais. Meu Deus! Será que você tem... tripofobia? Esse... Ai, meu Deus. Que caraca, ok. Ah, esse aí é complicado. Poxa vida. Courofobia. Medo de palhaços. Olha, um pouco. Quando eu era mais pequeno eu tinha. Olha a cara. A cara desse desgraçado, meu. Tapa na cara, assim, ó. Espero que tenha gostado do vídeo. Ótimo. Sem dúvida eu tenho tripofobia. Medo de buracos. Sem dúvida. Agora, como eu sou um bom caçador de vídeos, eu achei uma curta-metragem chamada Claustrofobia. Claustrofobia, horror short film. Vamos ver, começa já no escuro com uma lanterninha. Provavelmente será dentro de uma caverna, né? Poxa, uma coisa bem interessante. Teremos visão em primeira pessoa? Isso é nas catacumbas de Paris, né? Sem dúvida. Sem dúvida. Ok. Isso aí parece muito do Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Clássico. Rapaz, vai ter bicho. Vai ter bicho. Sem dúvida vai ter bicho. Ah, caraca. Ah, não, meu. Tá de sacanagem, poxa. Qual é o sentido de ter uma Samara dentro das catacumbas de Paris? Que vomita. Ok. Isso aí lembra muito um vídeo de um cara que enlouqueceu dentro das tumbas. Saiu correndo e largou a câmera no chão. Não sei se é um vídeo real também. Ok. Aquela clássica caída no chão, né? Dançou. E este foi o curta-metragem Claustrofobia. Agora do canal Mr. Nightmare, também um conteúdo relacionado com cavernas, não tão claustrofóbico, mas também, se tem caverna, tem claustrofobia pra mim. Os vídeos mais perturbadores de cavernas, Mr. Nightmare, um canal grandíssimo de terror lá das Américas, Los Angeles. Vamos começar. Colocar em português.
What you're about to see is the discovery made by the YouTuber Connor Kelly in the McCoy mine in Lander County, Nevada. The McCoy mine is a silver and gold mine at the elevation of 5,400 feet.
Ok, cara. Ainda quero ir num lugar desses. Ô, louco, meu. Normal, cacete. Ok, tem uma corda no chão. Nada conveniente. Strange. Mais uma corda.
But as they get deeper into the cave, Connor notices something reflecting the light of his flashlight. As they get closer, they realize what it is.
Rapaz, dá o fora, meu. Que porcaria é essa? São corpos? Ah, não, são sapatos. Que parece ossos.
But to make it even more disturbing, it's a pile of children's shoes. Mixed in with the shoes are various bones laying in the pile.
Ok.
Connor then looks further down the cave, and you can see skeletal remains of some type of animal, possibly a coyote or deer. The shoes all appear
Isso é bizarro,
with 80s
cara.
styling on a lot of them.
Talvez não.
Obviously, whoever or whatever put them
Tá, mas aí
deliberately
tem
made a
osso
pile
humano?
of them. Connor said they contacted police
Ou é só osso de bicho?
but they didn't seem
Porque
to
até
take
se
it
for osso de bicho, tá de boa.
The bones could easily be
Tá de boa, né? 1 milhão de sapatos de crianças numa caverna.
But the pile of shoes isn't as easily explainable. There's always the question of if this was a prank to scare people.
Talvez.
This honestly seems like it would take a lot of effort for a prank or failed viral video attempt. A more disturbing explanation would be that this is or was a dump for abducted kids, where their shoes would be removed for whatever reason and dumped there, possibly as trophies. An example that could be
Talvez
compared to
sim.
this was in the early 1900s in Walled Lake, Michigan. There was believed to be a sick and cruel man who began murdering kids in the area, and after he would dispose of the bodies, he threw their tiny shoes up into the branches of a tree.
Cara, será que isso é verdade, meu?
And people found his tree ornamented with dangling shoes of dead children.
Meu Deus,
Almost as if they
cara.
were one big trophy to him. Whether this
Filho
is
da
something similar to
puta.
that, or just a weird prank that somebody spent way too much
Mas o
time
que é essa
on,
coisa que
will
brilha?
probably remain a mystery.
Porque um tênis não reflete luz.
There aren't many
Uau, que gênio. John Edward Jones. Claustrofóbico.
of John Edward Jones, who was a 26-year-old
Conheço.
medical student and family man. When he was younger, he explored many caves with his father and his brother, so he'd been exploring caves practically his entire life. but one cave proved to be too dangerous even for John.
Nossa senhora, rapaz, é um baita de um buraco. The
This
Nutty
cave was known
Put.
for its notoriously
Putty.
narrow spaces. They were first explored by Dale Green in 1960.
Heisenberg?
The cave is located southwest of Utah Lake and 55
Ok.
miles from Salt Lake City.
Meio do
John
nada,
entered
basicamente,
Nutty
né?
Putty
Olha aí.
Cave at around 8 p.m. on the evening of November 24th,
Cara, os caras já entram de
2 days
noite,
before
meu.
Thanksgiving.
Um dia antes
John,
da dia
his
de desgraça.
23-year-old brother
Dia das
Josh,
graças.
and several other friends and family members all decided to
Qual que é
explore
ele?
Nutty Putty Cave as a way to
Ah, esse
spend time
dali.
with each other ahead of the holiday. John was married, had a 1-year-old daughter, and was attending medical school in Virginia. He had come back home to Utah to spend some time with his family.
O cara
for the
tava bem,
holiday,
hein?
making
O cara
the
tava
story a little
bem.
more tragic. About an hour into their expedition into the Nutty Putty Cave, John decided to crawl through a tight passage that he mistakenly thought was known as
Nossa,
the
olha esse
birth canal.
buraco, meu.
Unfortunately,
O
this
canal do
passage was way
nascimento.
tighter. He inched his way into the narrow passage head first, moving forward using his hips, stomach, and fingers.
Pelo que mostrou ali, parecia a entrada do inferno, né?
Terrible mistake. He knew that he was more or less stuck.
E rapaz,
Turn around or even wriggle back out the way he came. He had no choice but to try to press forward. He tried to exhale the air in his chest so that he could fit through a space that was barely 10 inches across and 8 inches
5
high.
centímetros.
But when John inhaled again and his chest puffed back out, he got stuck for good. Josh found
Para
his brother,
sempre.
and in a tragic turn of events, as he was pulling at John's calves,
Será que essa
John
foto é
slid
verdade?
further down the shaft. What's worse is that now he was stuck upside down with one hand beneath him and the other wedged above. At this point, the two
Caraca.
boys started to pray. Eventually, Josh made it back to the surface to call for help. But even once help
Não
came,
sei se vai ver, mas eu tô
John was still trapped 200
arrepiadaço.
feet into the cave and 100 feet below the Earth's surface.
120
Getting
metros.
the people, equipment, and supplies
Isso é um
down
prédio de
took
quantos
over an hour.
andares?
Due to John being
Cara.
stuck upside down, time was of the
Meu
essence.
Deus.
In an upside down position, a healthy young person could live for a few hours, but probably not much more. The body is adapted to work with gravity, not against it. Blood flows the way it does with gravity's help. Our organs sit where they are because of how we stand. So John's blood pressure was falling
Caraca, que
dangerously
imagem
low, and his organs would start to
cativante.
crush each other if he didn't get out soon. This position would also require the heart to work incredibly hard to continuously pump excess
Imagino.
blood out
Okay.
of the brain. The first rescuer to reach John was a woman named Susie Modola, who arrived at about 12:30 a.m. on November 25th.
Meio-dia e
At
30.
that point, John had been trapped
Não,
for
é...
3.5
Não, é
hours.
meio-dia e 30. Não.
Susie introduced herself to John, even though all she could see of him was a pair of navy and black running shoes. John said back to her, "Hi Susie, thanks for coming, but I really want to get out." Over
Nossa,
the next
cara.
24 hours, more than 100 rescue personnel worked to free John from the depths of the Nutty Putty. The best plan they had was to try to use a system of pulleys and ropes to try to free John from his position. Rescuers tied John with a rope connected to a series of pulleys, causing him to scream in pain due to a lack of blood in his lower body. Everything was ready, and they pulled as hard as they could, but suddenly and without warning, one of the pulleys failed. Rescuers believe the pulley came loose at its anchor point in the cave wall. The rope and pulley operation failed, and the rescuers had no other viable plans. John was
Caraca,
trapped.
meu.
With no hope of rescue and his heart having suffered hours upon hours of strain due to his downward position, John was pronounced dead of cardiac arrest shortly after midnight on the evening of November 25th. A week after
24
John's
horas,
death,
né?
the Nutty Putty Cave was sealed off for good. Perhaps the scariest part is that they never recovered his body, and his remains will stay down there forever.
Meu Deus,
This one,
cara.
while being kind of creepy, is
The
also pretty
Malheur
interesting. A
Cave.
YouTuber by the name of
Water
Water
Skipper.
posted a video exploring a cave in Oregon called
Nossa.
the Malheur Cave. On the surface, it looks like a pretty normal cave.
Yes, pretty normal. Caverna
Until the
engraçada.
bleachers on either side come into view.
Normal, muito normal.
Exactly bleachers would be
Tem um
doing
campo
in
de
the cave.
futebol no meio dela.
I'd assume some kind of secret underground rituals could be going on in there. And in a place as creepy as deep in a cave, these would probably be some sick rituals. However, the cave is owned by the Masonic Lodge of Burns. For decades,
Maçônicos.
the Freemason group in Oregon held their meetings in this cave, cleaning and maintaining
Ok,
the
é.
area.
É uma foto
Obviously,
diferente.
a group holding private meetings in a creepy cave is going to create bad rumors and conspiracy theories regarding
Pode
both the
ser.
Masons and the cave itself. One of those theories claiming that the cave hosted satanic rituals and devil worship. The cave has been closed off since
É
2019,
Sonic.
when local masons put up a gate at the cave entrance in order to stop the vandalism and graffiti that was plaguing the site.
Ah, o pessoal é muito também idiota, né?
Kenny Veach is someone I've talked about before, but his story is perhaps one of the more chilling
Kenny
stories
Veach,
having to do with caves. Kenny was a YouTuber and caver who disappeared in 2014 after attempting to
Espeleólogo.
explore a cave
Que é isso?
nicknamed the M Cave, which he reported hearing
M.
unusual noises from and found it suspicious as it was located 6 miles south of a top-secret airbase. As he began to enter the cave, his whole body began to...
Será essa a área 51? Né? Ou a famosa área 69 do GTA San Andreas? É, ó, pô, nunca se sabe, né? Vai saber o que não passa dentro daquele lugar lá.
vibrate. The more he went into the cave, the worse the vibrating became.
Vibração.
He said he suddenly became very afraid and hightailed it out of there. He uploaded this video to talk about his experience with the cave.
I got to still go over another ridge and then go all the way down a big crevice. It's real narrow and gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before. And something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in. This one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday. And I talked to some people on YouTube, and I told them, hey, I'm coming out here, you know, because they kind of called my hand on it. So I don't know if there's going to be anything to it, but it might be interesting.
Might be interesting. Tu simplesmente sumiu, desapareceu do mundo.
Of course, the internet being what it is, people made fun of him and accused him of making the whole thing up, or at least fabricating the story. Basically, Kenny was pressured into
Foi
going
muito
back
bem
to
feita
the
a
cave
história.
a second time, even though he was afraid to enter it the first time. Kenny gave into the pressure and returned to the cave, and he has not been seen since.
Cara, esse lugar é
His
muito
phone was
bonito, né?
found in an abandoned mine entrance, but no body was ever found. Kenny was an
Será que foi
extremely nice
urso?
and likable guy, making his disappearance and likely death all the more tragic. People believe that given the close proximity to the airbase, Kenny was actually murdered by the government.
Pode ser.
Proponents of this
Pode
theory
ser.
believe that the
Mas-
Kenny discovered was an entrance to some kind.
Mas será que se fosse mesmo o governo que matou ele, eles iriam mesmo deixar o telefone dele, cara? Assim? Sei lá, não faz sentido.
of top secret government facility due to its close proximity to Nellis Air Force Base and Area 51.
Area
Believed that the
51.
vibrating sensation Kenny felt while near the cave was a defense mechanism to keep civilians from entering. Under this same theory, Kenny saw government secrets within the cave and was kidnapped by U.S. soldiers when he emerged. A YouTuber by the name of Abandoned Minds
Ah,
11
cara, esse cara é incrível.
he believes to be the M cave that Kenny described, and it's pretty credible. The cave appears to have been walled off and sealed, preventing access inside.
Okay, I made it up here to the entrance of this M cave.
O cara é corajoso demais, né? Vai se catar.
Goes back up there and down. Now, this doesn't look to be very deep at all, and it looks like they were trying to wall it off. There's stacked rocks right there, as well as behind me here. Like right there.
Que é uma base
The YouTuber
primitiva,
finds
né?
multiple items on the floor, like planks of wood and a beer bottle with no label, possibly a bottle Kenny was carrying. Most interestingly, he finds an Area 51 warning sign, which actually may back up the theories that this was some
Caraca,
kind of
meu.
entrance to an underground facility.
Será que foi um zoeiro que fez isso?
But this is all speculation. What actually happened to Kenny is still
O cara com a cobra na mão. É isso aí, gente. Esse foi o vídeo. Muito bizarro, hein? Esse último não teve tanta claustrofobia, mas os primeiros foram meio bizarrinhos, né, nesse fato. Do mais, ficarei por aqui. Muito obrigado por assistir e não tenham medo, pois eu voltarei. Adiós.